text like Nike, let me give you a good night kiss.
What's up YouTube, it's Check Like Nike back with another video from Nike's Corner. So today's topic actually hits rather close to home. My favorite player has been and still is the one and only Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls. So in a few days, LaVine will be on the trade block, January 15th. And within a little over a month comes trade deadline, February 9th. That leaves us with a little over a month to discuss where LaVine might be headed. And with all this trade talk buzzing around his name, there's a good chance that he will in fact be headed out of Chicago. Now, he recently signed a 200-something max deal with the Chicago Bulls, but even prior to the season, he was fairly unhappy. However, at the end of last season, he was still in the debate for possibly a first option for Chicago, where as of now, I think that's totally in DeMar's hands. So, unfortunately, Zach LaVine has now become a second option on the Chicago Bulls. But what exactly has LaVine's name spreading through the NBA trade talks is what seems to be the blow-up that happened in the locker room at halftime the night of the December 18th game against his former team, the Minnesota Timberwolves.
You know, sometimes you need those conversations. Everybody should be frustrated. Obviously, we're frustrated because, we've lost some games. But, I don't get how these opinions are getting put on me like I said something.
So the Bulls lost 150 to 126 that night, and apparently they got into some sort of scuffle at halftime. What seems to be a verbal altercation between DeMar and LaVine mostly, but it was said that teammates have teamed up against Zach, or more than one were directing their frustration towards LaVine. Now, could that be because this is statistically his worst season since he joined the Bulls? Yeah. Or perhaps they're viewing his efforts as slacking. But then again, I can't say all the frustration is coming from the other teammates, when it kind of looks like Zach may be frustrated as well. LaVine has expressed frustrations a few times throughout the season, even once before the start of the season when he wasn't getting his extension from the Bulls. There was already talk of him leaving. Now here we are months later with the same talk at hand. Like I said, LaVine might not even be happy with Billy Donovan, as they had kind of a disagreement. So on the night of November 18th, there was a similar incident where LaVine was mad and he got into an argument with Billy Donovan. He had shot 1 for 14 and late down the stretch, he wasn't in the game. Does that show that Donovan doesn't believe in LaVine the way LaVine would expect his coach to? No matter how he played that particular game, he believes he should be in the game during clutch moments. LaVine has proven himself time and time again to be a clutch player. Whether you like it or not, that's the truth.
That's Billy's decision. He got to lay with it, Do I agree with it? No. I think I can go out there and still be me, even if I miss some shots. But that's his decision, and, he has to stand on it.
Plus, after the confrontation on December 18th, where the media made it seem like a pretty big deal as it seemed teammates teamed up against LaVine, Billy Donovan still refers to this as a healthy competition. But for some reason, Donovan wants the ball in DeMar's hands down the stretch. DeMar, too, is a clutch player, so we can't take it away from either of them. And LaVine didn't seem to say such negative things about DeMar in terms of having him in the game during those clutch moments where they're needed. However, like I said, it probably is a little tough falling back as a definite second option when you kind of had Chicago in the palm of your hand for a few seasons. So is it time for LaVine to leave? Now, there are 3 major options on the trade block for LaVine that we keep hearing about. Number 1, I want to discuss the New York Knicks. Now, the New York Knicks are the most aggressive, probably because they have absolutely nobody. And after their failure with Donovan Mitchell, who just dropped 71 points, they're probably looking to get someone with a fairly big name or potential on their team. Now, what would this trade include? I don't know if the Knicks even have anyone worthy of the trade for Chicago. In my opinion, Randall would definitely have to be included, but do they need a big man with Vucevic playing so well? I'm not sure about that. Now, as a New Yorkian, or New Yorker, having LaVine play here would be cool, but I don't want to have to be a Knicks fan. I don't think being on the Knicks is good for anyone's legacy. Like, aren't we trying to get a ring? But then again, the Knicks have a better shot at a ring this year than the Bulls. But that's not all it takes. Now, when it comes to winning important games, the Bulls definitely have that under control because they beat the Celtics, Bucks, and the Nets multiple times. In fact, they beat the Nets yesterday, last night. KD Kyrie wasn't enough to hold back Vucevic. Now, this trade talk is coming kind of late on my end because since that blow up in the locker room, LaVine's been playing much better. In fact, his numbers in December are substantially better than his numbers he was putting up in November. He was averaging 20 points per game last month, and this month, or being that's January, December, I should say, started averaging 25 points per game. He bumped up his percentage from the field from 40% to 53%, along with being more successful from the three-point line when he was shooting 31. Now he's shooting 42 from deep. But regardless of how he's playing, doesn't answer our questions about LaVine's feelings. Perhaps he still wants to leave and will request a trade out. I mean, there was talk of him going to Los Angeles prior to re-signing his max contract deal, and there's still talk of LaVine going there. Now, I think in terms of trade value, Los Angeles has more to offer Chicago than the Knicks ever will. But can LA be a good fit for LaVine? I would love to see LaVine as a Laker. I mean, he's a UCLA guy. He kind of grew up a Lakers fan, I'm pretty sure. Being that the Sonics had to have stopped playing when he was fairly young. Now, if his goal is to be a number one option, the Knicks is his best case scenario. But if his goal is to win games and be the player that he should be, which is a Klay Thompson type role player, I don't want to downgrade him so much. He could be a very good second option, or on a not so great team, he could be a very good first option. Like the Knicks, good first option. Now, if he goes plays alongside LeBron, he would be a third option, maybe. Yeah, next to AD and LeBron, who, when they're healthy, are always going to be the first options. Whether they're playing like it or not, they have the names. LeBron can't play forever. He's not going to continue to be as dominant as he is even managing to maintain himself right now. So within a few years, if LaVine thinks of his future, the Lakers might be the way to go. Plus, I've heard talk of LeBron leaving LA. Now, all that stuff pushed aside, LaVine would be a decent fit for the Lakers because he would be a nice little sharpshooter for them. He's aggressive. I think has a fair trade value with Russell Westbrook, who could play alongside DeMar DeRozan, and I think it might be the best fit out of all of our options here. So that being said, let's bring up our third most popular option that we're hearing about. LaVine to the Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Mavericks have been trying to find someone to be a side piece to Luka for quite some time. They had some failure with Kristaps Porzingis. But then again, I find LaVine and Doncic to be similar enough players. I'm not sure they'd work well together. They're both guards. They both are shooters and aggressive in the paint that I don't know if they will bode well together. I think they might even take shine away from each other, and more likely the case being Luka taking away from Zach. Now, as a Zach LaVine fan, I definitely don't want to see him alongside Luka because I just know what Doncic is capable of, and I don't know if Zach has the ability to play as well as I know he can with Luka by his side. As for the Lakers, I don't see it being a problem. He is a young option for LA because even with Westbrook, I mean, time is money. Westbrook is a lot older than LaVine in terms of basketball years. As for LeBron and Davis, it's the same situation. Anthony Davis may not have such a problem with his age or the time aspect, but injury aspect, his recovery is not as solid as LaVine's recovery from the ACL tear, so I think LaVine is less injury prone. Now, with all these options at hand, I am leaning more towards LaVine going to LA, or is it best for him to stay in Chicago and just try to stick it out? But I'm not sure if the Chicago Bulls are working as well as they were expected to with the roster they have. So I might just be in favor for LaVine out of Chicago. He's done 6 seasons, whether it feels like it or not. He has been on the Chicago Bulls for 6 seasons. So maybe it's time for a little bit of change. Could LA be the right change for him? Or maybe New York? It's going to be a little problem for my bank account. Because Madison Square Garden's not cheap. And I don't want to buy a Knicks jersey. But only time will tell. So these are just some quick thoughts and opinions before trade talk gets a little more serious surrounding LaVine, being that there's only a few days left. With the trade deadline approaching and LaVine being put on the block soon, only time will tell what's truly going to happen with LaVine. Will they work it out in Chicago, or will he be shipped off somewhere else? Let me know what you want to see happen with the Chicago Bulls and or these other teams involved in trade discussion, or where you think the best fit for LaVine might just be. So that's all for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you are not already, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, and let me know what you'd like to see in future videos. Thank you guys for watching. Niky out.
Nigga, get your ass checked like a fucking Nike.